What's up, guys? It's your boy jellyjudahbuckets here, back with another video. Hope you guys had a nice day. Hope you guys will have another nice day tomorrow, and so forth. You know, that's all. But if you're doing me a favor, like this video, also subscribe if you're new, and turn on post notifications so that we can get notified when another video come out. All right, keep it cool, keep it classy. Let's get to it. All right. Oh, excuse me. Let's get to it. Okay.
This happened a while ago. Me and my brother Ron were in my room watching football, screaming at the screen when our team would do something idiotic. We were about 40 minutes into the game. Ron slammed his fist into the remote, turning the television off by accident. I turned the TV back on, and as the screen loaded back up, we heard footsteps coming from downstairs.
Wow.
Ron and I quickly turned our heads to the bedroom door. I turned down the volume to hear the noises clearer. "I think someone's inside,"
Wow.
Ron said. I could hear the shudder in his voice. He was anxious. "No, it's probably just the dog," I responded. Ron, however, was a lot more cautious. He walked over to the bedroom door and locked it. The click it made alerted the intruder.
Wow.
We heard even more footsteps. Ron then whispered, "That's not the dog." Ron, acting nervous, put me on edge, so I agreed with him and turned off the bedroom lights. Ron then looked around the room, trying to find some sort of object we could use as a weapon. I sat next to the door, with my ear placed on our wall. They were so thin that if there was someone inside the house, I would be able to hear them. Nothing happened at first. It was just dead silence. "Take a look," Ron said. He had his phone turned on in case we needed to call the police. I lay on my chest and looked through the gap under the bedroom door. I saw blackness, but I could barely make out a pair of boots standing a little way.
Wow. Look at that. Look at that. Cluck shoes. Like, come on. Like, wow. Look at that. Come on now. Wow.
Ways down the upstairs hall. I felt both hands shaking as I pushed myself back up to my feet. I tiptoed over to Ron, who was waiting anxiously for the answer. "Someone's here," I whispered as low as I could. Ron's face went pale as he stared into nothingness. At one point, I thought he was going to black out on me. I pulled Ron over to our window. I quietly opened the window and looked down at the grass, 2 stories below my current position. Ron was still in a different world, as if he was blocking himself out from reality,
Wow.
leaving the responsibility to me. I tried not to pay much attention to him and instead focused on escaping. I took Ron's phone out of his hand as he crouched on the carpet. He had installed one of those apps where specific fingerprints can enter the phone. I took his hand, which was shockingly freezing, and held his index finger on the phone screen. I jumped out of my skin when the phone let out a loud beep, and all of a sudden, I could hear footsteps running straight to the bedroom door. I quickly typed in 911 and put one leg out of the window. I heard loud banging on the bedroom door and shouting, "I'm going to kill you."
Wow.
I landed on the porch roof and shouted at Ron to snap back into action. Ron stood up quickly and stumbled outside of the window. He landed on the roof beside me as I forced the window shut again. "We need to jump," I said. I could hear faint thumping behind the walls. The intruder was struggling to get inside our room. I jumped off the porch roof and sprained my ankle. Ron was wobbling on the edge of the roof. "Quick," I said. I avoided shouting as whoever the intruder was would have known that we were outside. Ron touched his chest, head, right shoulder, and left shoulder, making a cross before he jumped. We were a good 6 blocks away before I realized that I had left my dog behind. I burst into tears from fear of what just happened and worrying if my dog was hurt. I talked to the police operator as both me and Ron slowly walked back to the house. We heard sirens and I felt a weight lift off our shoulders. As we approached our house, we noticed that the police were now outside. Me and Ron hid beside our porch. Both of us were waiting to come face to face with the intruder.
Okay.
4 cops came out, but there was no man.
Wow.
And one of them was holding my dog Lewis. I hugged him and apologized to him for leaving him behind. The cops explained that there was no one inside.
Okay.
And there was nothing stolen either.
Okay.
In fact, they explained that there was nothing to even prove that someone had invaded our property. They never found him. Ron installed some CCTV cameras in both of our houses.
Okay.
But I can assure you, I haven't had a good night's sleep since.
From our door to yours, we're here for you with Wawa Delivery. Have your Wawa favorite.
Okay.
I posted this in a comment in another post, and another user suggested I share it here. So why not? So I've been on Grindr for about 10 years, 5 of which were legal. I'm not proud of it, and had plenty of messed up experiences. This one in particular reminds me of when I was at a party without my car. I was 19 in college, and my phone was at 10%, but a decently hot Grindr guy said he could pick me up, and we could hang out at his place before he drove me home. So of course I jumped on the opportunity. Anyway, we got to his place, and he got me pretty drunk, which isn't usual for me, but never tried to make a move. I assumed he was gonna wait and just convince me to stay the night later on. Finally, my phone died after about 2 hours. The last 1% lasted a lot longer than the rest. And I didn't even have to say anything before he noticed it was dead. Then he stood up and was like, "Well, let's go to the car then." When I asked him if he had a charger I could use, he just said, no. After we got in the car, he got kind of quiet and less flirty. And I spaced out, just enjoying his music and looking out the window. I didn't even notice that he never asked me where I lived, until I realized we'd been driving for over an hour. Not even towards my town,
Wow.
but into the canyons of Greater Salt Lake City. I asked him where we were going, and he just said, thought we could just go for a drive. And my drunk ass was like, oh, okay. So anyway, to make a long story shorter, he ended up taking us about 4 or 5 miles down a dirt road with no signs or houses until it dead-ended into this cabin with no lights on or cars outside.
Wow.
And he just parked and turned off his car. That's when the dread started to creep in as I sobered up.
Hold up.
Connecting to your family story is easier than you think. Ancestry gives you the tools, tips, and details.
Pause that real quick. I know you guys been wondering why I be going why I be doing different reactions, different YouTubers. It's just sometimes want to change up. But that's a side note. Other than that, these ads are getting out of line. Hold up. They randomly pop up and I don't even understand why. Got my door closed. Alright.
I said I drank too much and I should probably head home, but he didn't even respond. He just sat there staring at the cabin. Then he was like, "You said you like to be kinky. You're pretty submissive, correct?" And I was like, sure, but I just meant normal, rough kind of stuff. Nothing wild." And he started to sound a little annoyed, and his sentences seemed a little less carefully worded, like he was spitting out the bare minimum effort in each thought. He said something about some of his favorite people are those who can find pleasure in pain, and if someone goes into shock enough times, eventually it becomes a drug, and they crave it more. And then something about pushing a person into the deep end is the fastest way to teach them how to swim.
Wow.
At that point, I was scared enough to assert myself, and said firmly, "Okay, well that sounds fun, but just not tonight. I just want to go home now. This place is creepy." And he just sighed and gripped his keys tighter. Then right as I glanced at his phone sitting in the cup holder, right before it occurred to me to grab it, he snatches it up so fast and held it in his left hand, kind of like behind his head, making it clear that I wasn't going to go near it. I made this kind of, what, sound. And he just gave me this almost, I'm proud of you, son, half smile, like dads do when they pat your shoulder or something. It was quiet, and he kept looking me up and down for a minute or so. Then got a little bit more gruff and said, let's go inside. I have these friends you'll really like once you meet them. You'll feel a lot better. Or something to that extent. But he wasn't even trying to sound genuine or comforting like he had been doing so well earlier that night. Finally, I lied and spoke up a bit and told him, I told my roommates and my friends I was meeting up with you before you picked me up. I sent screenshots of your face and some of the convo. They're gonna freak out if I don't charge my phone and reply to them in the next few hours. I try not to make it sound accusatory, but more like I was just worried that my friends would go crazy.
Okay.
But it was clear he knew what I was implying. At that point, he let out an exasperated, grunty sigh and started the car and we drove away. He kept his headlights off all the way back down the dirt road for some reason. Driving back, I got nervous about him stalking me or coming after me in the future, so I tried to apologize and tell him I was down to hang out another time, but tonight was just not feeling great for me, blah blah blah. He didn't say a single word to me the whole drive back. He didn't ask me where I lived, and I didn't intend to tell him either. But he dropped me off at a McDonald's about 40 miles away from my apartment.
Okay.
And when I was stepping out, he suddenly leaned over and gave me a hard shove, so I almost fell out the rest of the way. He grabbed my backpack off the floor and flung it out his window across the parking lot and peeled out with the passenger door still open. He broke my laptop and cracked my phone, and I had to ask a stranger to use their charger and call an Uber. But at this point, I was just so anxious to get home, I didn't really give a crap. What's so weird is how, while this was happening, even though I was terrified, I guess I wasn't thinking about exactly what he was planning to do with me.
Okay.
I just knew I needed to get away. So it wasn't until I got home and got in the shower that I realized how messed up it was and what might have happened if I let him walk me into the cabin. I remember just being so shaken and smacked by the reality of it. Almost felt like a panic attack. So I sat down in the shower, my head between my knees, and cried till the water ran cold. And I got out and woke up my roommate. I told him about it, and he kind of calmed me down. So while I still have a Grindr account, I really just use it for an ego boost. I'm reluctant to meet up with anyone from it now. Anyway, girls and guys, I suppose the moral of the story is,
we're going to trial.
On a license!
The lies. Whether he's guilty or not.
we gotta be careful.
I don't know what had me fooling around with illegal stuff like the deep web. But I heard that it was a place where stuff the normal internet didn't have was stored and viewed. Immediately I got interested and asked my friend how I may access the deep web. He wrote me down the instructions. After a while, I decided it was time to go home. When I got home, I looked at the card he wrote the instructions on. It said I needed a browser called Tor to access it. Needless to say, I got the search engine and read on. Next, it said I needed to find a page called Hidden Wiki. After a while of searching, I found it.
See, that's not smart. You going on the deep web. It don't make no sense. Who knows? It could have been a virus or something, but like, that's not my friend no more. If you gave me something like that, like, no. I'm not about just to go home, go on a computer like that to find the deep web. For what reason? Like, you just asking it for. Some people may never learn. It's a shame.
I saw a bunch of nameless links. In the Hidden Wiki, links are given without a name or description. People can only find out what's inside a link by clicking on it. After numerous sites filled with child porn, drugs, and hitman for hire,
Wow.
I came across a link I have yet to discover. I click on it to see a video. I pressed play. I saw nothing but a wall. I stared at it for a few minutes. Just as I was about to exit, something was emerging through the wall. I waited and watched longer to discover it.
See what I'm saying? You're playing too much. Like, why would you want to go on the deep web for? For what purpose? Ridiculous.
Was a man with a mask. "Hey there," he said. Thinking this was a prank video, I just kept watching. After a while of me just staring at the screen, he began to speak again. "Aren't you going to speak?" he asked. I proceeded to type on the keyboard. "Not the keyboard. Speak," he said.
Wow.
At this point,
See what
I
I'm
was a
saying?
bit frightened. "Who are you?" I asked. "I'm your friend,"
No, you're not.
he proceeded to say. At this point, I'm scared. My face is full of terror. I begin to start showing my fright. "Come on, friend. Don't give me that scared face," he said. This is when I got extremely frightened. "Just 1 second, my friend. I will get your address so I can talk to you in real life."
Oh no.
He proceeded to type on his computer. Frantic, I tried to close the window down and get out of the video.
See that?
"That won't work," he said.
You might as well take your computer, right? Bust it up, smash it, then set it on fire, and then throw it, and then, I don't know, throw it in the trash or something. Because now he could access your computer and access where you live at. Like, no, you don't do that. Take your computer, bust it up, throw it out, throw it away, burn it. Burn your computer. It's over, it's a wrap. You can buy another one. Pretty sure you got money. But like, he playing games. He playing games right there. You know what I'm saying? Throw it away.
Before he had time to track my address, I got a screwdriver, removed the back and battery from my laptop.
That's good.
It's been some time now, and he hasn't come. He didn't have enough time to get my address. Or did he?
Oh my goodness.
It was late December in a small Texas town. We just received 5 inches of snow earlier in the day.
Okay.
I can't remember what time it was. All I remember is that it was dark out,
Okay.
and I was playing in my room.
Okay.
It's important to note that my room was made up of 2 rooms, a mud room with a door leading to out front, then my actual bedroom.
Okay.
The door was an older style wood door with all the old hardware and had a window on the top half. It had a window shade, but that wouldn't stop anyone from looking in if they wanted. My room was the frontmost, with my parents' room being in the back of the house.
Okay.
I was in my mud room, playing with my Hot Wheels when I felt something weird, like someone was watching me.
It probably was.
I was facing the door at this point and looked right up at the window. I was trying to focus on the little openings left by the window shade. I stared, looking for any reason to feel unsafe and run. After a while, I was sure that there was nothing, so I went back to playing. A few minutes later, I got the feeling again. This time, I didn't look at the door, but instead moved to where my back was now to the door. I was just hoping that it was all in my head.
No, it wasn't.
Just then, the most terrifying thing happened. There was a noise at the door, like the doorknob had been touched. I was still turned around, back facing the door. I was completely frozen at the metal on metal sound of the doorknob. It was moving. I didn't know how or why, but it was moving, slowly turning, testing the lock. I wanted to move, but I was frozen.
Nope.
It was like someone glued every joint in my body. My chest felt like a car was parked on it. My parents had been in the shower all the way at the back of the house, leaving me at the front all alone, with the only room lit up being mine. Suddenly, the knob was not being gently moved. Someone was turning it with force. This door was one that had to be locked with a skeleton key, so the knob could turn and open freely. Luckily, there was 2 deadbolts.
That's good.
Whoever was on the other side just figured out the knob was free to open. As soon as I heard the knob turn all the way, I sprung up to the door about 5 feet, my back to the wall. The door fell silent. I found myself glued to the wall, unable to move. And then the knob turned slowly. I remember watching, waiting for it to turn all the way. When it did, whoever was on the other side started trying to budge the door and pry at it. First, it was easy going, but then they started pounding into the door with their foot. They got only 2 kicks in when I unfroze and screamed for my life. I sprinted to the back of the house to get my parents. They asked what was wrong, and I said someone tried to break in. They ran and checked, not bothering to look outside, which I pleaded them to go check outside. They just said my imagination was running wild.
See? And that's where they messed up at. And then the second part about it, number 2, is where's the curtains? Like, it's dark outside. Like, you know, even if nobody's watching or you don't see nobody or you see people, like, everybody knows close your blinds at night. You know what I'm saying? Close them at night. Then when it's daytime, then you open it up. When you leave, then you close it. But like, you're talking about your imagination getting to you. It could be, but nah, I know it wasn't. And somebody tried to open the door. See what I'm saying? They playing games, and that's where they let their guard down. That's crazy. That is crazy. Like, that is ridiculous because, you know you heard something. You see what I'm saying? They playing games. They playing too many games. Jeez. You gotta have some curtains. It's important. You gotta have some curtains.
And it was with an animal or the old age of the house. They took one final look in my mudroom, not bothering to investigate any further. I was told to go to bed. It took me hours. I don't even remember falling asleep.
That's fine.
All I remember is staring at the door from my bed, never taking my eyes off the doorknob. Suddenly, I was woken up by my parents, who were obviously distressed and seemed to be scared. My mom grabbed me by both shoulders and got right in front of me. She asked me very sternly why I thought someone tried to break in. When I told them this time, they seemed to listen. I was worried how serious they were as they asked me about everything. When I was done, they said they had to show me something.
Wow.
They took me to the front door and out to the front yard and pointed to my door near the driveway. You could clearly see the boot prints in the snow, walking along the street through our yard and straight to my window, then my mudroom door, where I had been playing the night prior.
See?
The police showed up and took a report, but nothing ever came of it. I was never able to sleep well in that house. I can never forget what it felt like as a child to go through this, and to not have my parents believe me. I'm just glad I was not home alone, and very thankful for those deadbolts.
This story was narrated by Nightmare Narrative. He has awesome content including scary stories, compilations and scary adventures, so show him some love by subscribing to him.
Okay.
And also we started a new YouTube channel called Dark Ace Narrative, so check out our channel. Links are in the description below.
True Uber. See? Gotta be careful with Uber. Push the haunted. Animated by Dark Ace Animations.
I was 24 years old when this happened, and I'd recently started my first job as an Uber driver.
Okay.
Being an Uber driver was easy for the most part, but you'd eventually get to a point where you were tired of constantly picking up people and putting a fortune's worth of gas in your car. It would have been great if Uber paid for the driver's expenses, but we were independent contractors under their platform, so we had to pay for gas.
Would have been great.
The pay was okay for the most part, but you might as well consider Uber as a side job to earn a little extra cash on the side.
Yep.
I'd mainly do Uber during the night as I'm a full-time college student with bills to pay, so it wasn't all fun and games.
Okay.
Anyway, I constantly...
See, in a quick note, like Uber is like, this is sort of like a side job. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a main job where you get all your money from like your... oh, excuse me. My bad. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Uber is basically just like a side job, but yeah. It's just you get paid, but it's like Uber don't provide. You supposed to get for yourself, you know? Like pay for the gas, the tires and all that, the car itself, because it's your car. You know what I'm saying? You're just using it as Uber services while you work. That's all. It's a side note.
You'd be picking up people everywhere in my city. I've picked up motorists, people from parties or nightclubs,
Wow.
and you'd sometimes get your occasional creeps who'd stare at you for no apparent reason. However, there was this one woman who I picked up that really gave me second thoughts about working for Uber. It was a Wednesday, I believe, and I was driving around waiting for someone to request me for a ride. A few minutes went by, and I got a notification from Uber letting me know that someone had requested me. Eventually pulled up to a woman who looked to be in her mid-30s.
Okay.
Just by looking at her, I could tell that something seemed off about her.
See?
She wore some jeans and had a black t-shirt that had holes all over it. Her hair was a mess, and I could make out what looked to be faint marks on her. She went over to my car and asked in a soft tone if I was her Uber driver. I told her yes and to hop in the back. As soon as she did, she kept on giving me this stare as if she...
Always get those creeps at night. That's why a lot of people don't do Uber at night. Like, look, come on now. Like, you can, right? I know you a male. Now, it's not just that. It's like, come on, that's creepy. Like, I know Uber drivers hate that all the time. Like, that's crazy.
She seemed upset about something. Like I said before, you'd occasionally have some creeps, so in my mind, I thought she was one of them. She told me the address, and we went on our way. I then began to notice that she kept looking around my car for no apparent reason, as if she were looking for something. I keep all of my valuables with me at all times, and the valuables that I do have in the car were all kept safe in the glove compartment. She kept looking around while fidgeting with her fingers, like she was anxious. Whenever I'd ask if she was okay, she'd immediately stop and raise her voice to tell me that everything was fine. Not in a rude way, just a formal way. Out of nowhere, she kept on saying things to herself, repeating them over and over again. I assumed that she had some sort of mental disorder, so I tried to be respectful and mind my own business. But that all changed when she started screaming at the top of her lungs. She began hitting me, grabbing my shirt, trying to scratch me, and doing anything she could to cause harm to me. I told her that she was done and ordered her to get out of my car before I called the police. She started to cry and sob and began to apologize, telling me not to kick her out. Even though I felt somewhat bad, I still couldn't chance it because I knew that she was going to end up doing it again. She got out of my car and I sped off and reported the incident to Uber, and I don't know what they did after that. All I could say is that woman is mentally insane.
Yes.
If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit subscribe button and click that like.
Yeah, these jump scares, like, come on now. I know they're gonna do jump scares. Like, why? What's the point of that? But yeah, it's crazy. That's why you gotta be careful. And some of these people just asking to be stalked, just asking for trouble. Like the deep web story, that is crazy. It's just a random person I reacted to, by the way. But hope you guys enjoy it. You know, don't be doing none of this stuff like this. Keep it cool and classy. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. The hell?